everybody guess how we all doing? It is the Fredders93 here, and welcome back to another edition of Football with Fredders, your weekly football chat show. And as you've probably guessed from the thumbnail, I teased it last week, and probably from this guy sat beside me, I am not alone this week. Anyone that knows this channel or followed this channel for a long time will know that this guy is a huge supporter of the channel, and he's another third of HLF Gaming as well, but you don't usually see his face. This is only the second time that his face has appeared on YouTube. Second of that to his HLF channel announcement video. It is the King of Smite, HAZA060. Good evening, HAZA.
Good evening, Fredders. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me on. Glad to be here. I really enjoy your Football with Fredders each week. So, yeah, it's nice to take part, and thank you for the invite.
As people probably guessed, Newcastle and Chelsea did play against each other this weekend. But before we dive into the game itself, I guess people will be wondering, what made HAZA060 support Chelsea in the first place?
Well, we did obviously see your previous Football with Fredders edition of this question, Fred, where you talked about why you support Newcastle and FC Caen. For me, Chelsea was part of my upbringing. It's personally, it was a video that it was a team that my dad supported. So I've always been growing up with Chelsea, going to see Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. That was before the Abramovich days, so obviously it's not just the glory hunting. I understand that is a big part of it now, and Chelsea being one of the big six, as Fred's spoken about in the past, it does come with that correlation of, oh, you just support Chelsea for their vast amounts of money and being able to just invest in the best players. And there's an element of that I accept, but as a team in general, I've always supported Chelsea. Fredders will tell you that since he's known me, I've not jumped between teams. It's a loyal team that I enjoy supporting. So that's kind of my shorter edition. I could go into it a bit more, but we're not here to talk about that, are we, Fredders?
No, we're not. I teased this on a couple of my social medias this week. I've been wearing this shirt for the time that we're recording this, as a little bit of a throwback to the entertainers period for Newcastle. But of course, our performance was everything but entertaining, wasn't it?
Was a tricky match for you guys, definitely. I think there was a real sense of intimidation based from what the Chelsea form has been in the last 6 matches, not conceding and winning quite a few games. So, yeah, I can imagine, like, for Newcastle, you guys, the result speaks for itself. It was one of those games where we were able to capitalise on that. And, it was an interesting game. Obviously, from my perspective, I really enjoyed watching the different plays that Chelsea had. They were definitely working well as a team. You could see they were using stuff from the training ground, and it was good from our end. What did you think of it, Fred?
Well, with this game, I was thinking back to earlier in the year, I believe it was, with this fixture last season. It was definitely a part of the bus and then snatch and grab at the end.
Yes, it was,
wasn't it? There was no doubt of that happening again the second time round. We definitely part of the bus, and we looked completely lost, or pretty much almost right from the off. But then the own goal after 10 minutes.
An unfortunate own goal. I feel like the general movement was in moving towards the goal, towards the ball, and Fernandes, unfortunately, I admit Chilwell did have a bit of a contact with Fernandes. I don't think it was intentional by any sense. I just feel that was a very difficult call to make. I wouldn't have wanted to be the referee by any sense. I can imagine from where you're sitting, Fredders, you thought differently.
Well, from what I saw from that, I must be honest. I know that there was talk that maybe was there contact, wasn't there contact, but to be honest, where Fernandes got his feet in the muddle to begin with, you're always just asking for trouble then, especially when the ball's being whipped in and you're in your 6-yard box. It's just going to be asking for trouble.
It's a danger area, definite danger area, and that was the result of that particular play. But then we look past that and we look at how Newcastle responded to the going 1-0 down. You guys did, unfortunately, let us have...
I was about to say, did we?
Okay, yeah. So where were we? We were talking about the match.
Yes.
Newcastle, Chelsea. Apologies for that. So yes, it was very much a good game for Chelsea. They were able to obviously dominate. You saw the statistics. We were there on possession and shots and just using general tactics that obviously Frank Lampard has implemented from the training ground, from them corners, from them plays. Zuchek with some fantastic balls in, and Timo Werner just looking very dominant. So it's very nice to see as a Chelsea fan. It's been a little while since we've seen a team like this. Definitely a couple of years, especially since we've lost Hazard. So Eden Hazard, that kind of time period, the team has had to change. But yeah, I think for Newcastle, you guys definitely were at a disadvantage, even though you were at home. Something to going into the game.
Yeah, yeah. Even without Havertz and Pulisic, you
Mm,
guys still brought your A game very much so. And then definitely no complaints about the second goal. Timo
yeah,
Werner taking the ball brilliantly from his own half
fantastic
in the
run.
box, then found the perfect pass into Tammy Abraham, and he's lucky that it goes towards the right side of the post and goes in.
Yes, definitely. But I mean, that's again one of them plays where Tammy Abraham's able to sense what Timo Werner's going to do and work together, and them two as like two strikers together, which we don't always play. We've always been very assertive with one striker rather than two. So it's nice to see that they're using a partnership for once. I know that means that you then have less potential of a midfield range, but I feel that we're definitely stronger with two strikers on the field like that.
I feel that where we definitely need to improve after this game is the fact that you probably saw it as the game sort of like went on. A lot of Newcastle's passes, instead of going forwards, they went backwards. And the one
Yes. Yep.
point where you can highlight that was in the 84th minute, I believe this was. The ball was it. We had the throw in your final third. Well,
Yeah.
then once the ball got thrown back in, two passes later, it was back at
It
our
was back
goalkeeper.
in your goalkeeper. Yeah, correct. It is very much a tactic of where the players are getting confused. Where what does keep possession and using possession well mean? It's finding that right balance and being able to go forward, uh, but do it in a way that you're going to maintain possession. Yes, Chelsea are looking very good with their currently strong defence, and that can be intimidating. But for a team like you guys, in the 83rd minute, when you're 2-0 down, you got to take them chances. Like it was when Nicky Hayden went through, very close, unfortunate, wasn't able to get the finishing goal from his attempt, but it's taking that chance. He was in the right position, and as long as you're getting balls in like that, that's how you're going to score goals.
Even though apparently there was a handball in that build up, they probably
Yes.
could have still tried to have not skied it
Yeah.
out into the city centre. Um, so how do you think that Chelsea have started this season so far from your perspective?
Well, I must admit, if I think back to the early day, like the very beginning of the season, I felt quite undecided about how Chelsea were going to do. I was very much cautious of the whole, well, it's a new team, they need to settle into their new roles and be able to work well dynamically. I mean, we've had such a huge transfer like window. We bought a lot of players, and a lot of people think, oh, that's just us throwing money at the team, which in a sense it is, but it also is the fact that we haven't had that opportunity to uh, work on our team since our transfer ban. And you think previous to that, the big thing is we sold Eden Hazard to Real Madrid, which was a great selling, bearing in mind his current form. I think if we had kept him, it might have been a very different dynamic to how we would feel towards him, but it was good that he left when he did. And anyway, going to the current team, I feel that they are obviously playing fantastically well. The unfortunate situation with Kepa and our goalie and having to bring in Mendy, that has made a difference to our team, and he's obviously stepped up his game for the first squad. and it's really good to see from our end. What do you think about yours, Fred? I mean, you've got 3 wins, 2 draws, and 4 losses. It's not terrible, is it?
I mean, it's not bad, but I mean, it could be worse. It could be
Hmm.
better at the same
Of
time.
course.
I've, it seems to be that, like, at the beginning of the season, when Dubravka got injured, I thought we was going to struggle massively, big time. But you got to give props to Carl Darlow. He's prevented a lot of games becoming cricket scores, bar the Man United one. But Bruce should have subbed him. He was carrying a groin injury for about the last 20 minutes in that
Yeah.
game. But nevertheless, we just need to start going 4 games more, because that's how we're going to get the points, and we just need the points to stay up. Otherwise, we're going to lose market value, and we certainly know that Mike Ashley's not going to want that.
No.
I'll get your views on this as well, but for me, the Premier League so far this season has been a bit of an interesting season so far, shall we say. I think the fact that we had such a small gap for pre-season is definitely being told. I mean, you just look at the amount of injuries, especially to the likes of Leicester and Liverpool.
Oh, huge. Yes.
I mean, Liverpool alone in particular. And so that's given some of the lesser teams like Villa and Southampton, they've just started their seasons out of nowhere because they've got that good sort of group dynamics. I mean, I know that Villa brought in a fair number of new players, but the way they've just started, the way they've just gelled and clicked and started,
Yeah,
has been great.
definitely.
I mean, this whole thing with VAR and this new handball rule is a joke.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
gonna lie about that. It's an absolute joke. There's me thinking of next week's video as well, right there.
yeah,
But yeah, so how do you think the Premier League's
it's
started?
definitely an interesting, as you say, Fred. I don't think we've had a season like it in a very long time. You've got to also take into account the global pandemic, the fact that there's no real crowd participation. That plays such a massive role in team morale. I mean, I think that would have been a very different game at St James's Park if you did have a crowd. If you had your backing supporters there, it can really throw off a team. Even teams like Chelsea, I've seen them. They've not been able to stick it out, or they've crumbled under the ferocity of the crowd. And the crowd makes or breaks games. And with the COVID regulations currently, as this is being filmed, they're talking about coming out of lockdown and allowing small crowds. We'll wait to see how that plans out, obviously, won't we, Fredders, and see what happens, if that will impact the game again. People are obviously going to be, even the players must be thinking about the whole pandemic and the amount of them that know people that might be going through the virus. Well, you can see from the big stars, like the big players that are getting test positive, that must have an impact because they know that there's somewhere along the lines going to be in contact with that. But I mean, looking at the positive, you've got to say, well, it's good that teams like Villa, Everton, Southampton, they're able to make the table interesting, and it means that there's no predictability, which is what people love about football. And it's about having these games that potentially you look at the starting 11 and go, I actually don't know if this is going to be a really one-sided game either way. That's what we want at the end of the day, and that's what makes a good football match to watch and to enjoy. Yes, we all look for the big scores, but we also look for the good plays. We look for the team, the young players that want to come forward and show that they've got the potential to be up in the best league in the world. And it really does have an impact right now, because you think that they should actually be performing really well with no crowds, as I've said. If they've not got a crowd there to put them off, it should be like a training, almost similar to a training experience in that regards, that there's no crowd. I'm not saying that there's no pressure, because they know the cameras are on them. They know that the game is going to account to points for the table, and they've got their whole team there that they want to do justice for. Like, these teams do try hard, obviously, and I'm not saying that any player thinks, oh, it's an easy pickings because there's no crowd, or, oh, I don't have to think what people think. But it does at least help if you can get in that mental state that the pressure's less.
It really loves there indeed. Yes. So I think with our thoughts with the way the Premier League is going, I think it's probably a brilliant time to sort of like wrap things up here. So thank you so much for watching another edition of Football Threaders. Hope you have enjoyed it. Obviously, leave likes and shares on the videos. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to HAZA060, and also Lloyd from Sharp Racing and HLF Gaming, of course. Those
I was
channels
going to
will
say.
always be in the description. All these videos. Anything else you want to add before
No,
signing off?
thank you very much, Fredders93. This has been really fun. I hope to maybe be able to make another guest appearance at some point. And yeah, definitely make sure you check out all the channels, as Fred has said. And it's been great talking to you, Fred.
We'll definitely have to get you back on here somewhere down the line. Anyway, we'll see you guys very soon. Take care.
Take care.
Bye
Bye.
for now.